All right, all right, all right. Welcome to the latest episode of Two Men with Mics. I am your host, Bobby Joe, and joining me is my co-host CJ. And
CJ the Gray.
that's right, we're here to bring you two topics, 20 minutes. We just give it to you raw. So what's going on, man?
Oh no, man, just chilling. Just hanging out. Kind of excited about this whole everything. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah,
I'm just happy to be here.
me too. Trying to get adjusted from the holiday weekend here, but
Word.
I'm trying. But I had a lot to talk about. I wanted to jump right into it. I know
Okay.
everybody's talking about Kwame Brown. We haven't really talked about it on the podcast,
You ain't
but
even like foreplay the whole situation. Are you just going
I
right
you
in?
I
Yeah.
have because
He's
I
savage.
know so many people have heard about Kwame going off on
Uh-huh.
Matt Barnes, Jerry Stackhouse,
Mm.
Jamel Hill, he Stephen A. He had smoke for everybody. I guess that's what the young people are saying,
Yeah.
smoke. And he said he had time. That's one of my favorite sayings. I got time today. So apparently Kwame Brown has had all the time. So I
So what do
just
you think about it? Like literally.
um, man, I got mixed emotions. So I'll say this. I was one of those people in the beginning too. I was calling him a bust. I said, man, he's a bust. But then when you think about it, this man has been in the league. This man was in the league for 12 years and made over $60 million.
Okay.
I don't know too many busts that have been in the league that long and
Mm.
made that amount of money. And if you talk about somebody, whether it's personal or not, if you talk about somebody for so long, his name is associated with being one of the biggest busts ever in the NBA.
Mhm.
At some point, you're bound to have a response for everybody and just go off. I mean, he had something for Charlemagne the God. Just anybody who he felt slighted him, he had something to say. And when I say he went off, he went off. So then I listened to Stephen A. or watched the video that he put out of all his blunders or bloopers, highlights, whatever you want to call them. And he made a good point too. He said, it was never anything personal. And he showed a lot of the highlights, and I don't know. I'm understand him wanting to say something, so I get it. But I'm just on the fence. What do you think?
I mean, personally, I'm gonna say like, when it came to the whole basketball thing, I get it. As far as him being a bust,
Right,
but when it's personal, then yeah. And here's my thing, like, especially when it comes to the NBA or any professional sports, because now they're starting to air out all this dirty laundry,
right,
and it's like a fraternity when you get to that level in sports. You know what I'm saying? So there's things that you shouldn't say when you make the highest level of sports. There's things that you shouldn't talk about outside of your square. I call it a fraternity or whatever, and
right.
I think they even called it that too. So that part, I'm just kind of like disappointed with that whole situation. Now the bus thing. Now I'm gonna be talking for a minute, Bobby. You got time?
Hey, I got time.
Okay. Here's the thing with the whole bus thing, and I get Kwame. He might be upset because from the time he left the league back in I think it was what 2012, somewhere in
Yeah,
that. I can't remember the years.
yeah. I gotta go back and look.
But when he left the league, he's been called a bust ever since, even while he was in the league, right? Because they
Okay.
had so much expectations for him.
Hmm.
And I get it, after so long, if you constantly hear something like that as a player, you're gonna eventually snap and say, what the heck, what the heck,
That's what I
what's wrong
said.
with you, mofos?
Right, right,
Find somebody else to talk about. But people do get caught with certain stigmas, and he just happened to fall victim to that, and then, like I said, it's because of his the expectations they had. He's coming straight out of high school. They thought the next KG or I'm gonna say Kobe, great Kobe or something like that. But they expected a high return for this guy, and he gave them nothing. So of course, to their standards, and that's why I guess their standards says he's a bust.
right.
And it really is. It's kind of like like how you and I used to play basketball in the Air Force Base. You had one court where all the good players played at,
Yep.
and then you had
The
the
D
other
League.
court. Exactly, we called it the D League. Those guys could not play with us on that court if they weren't
Right,
good enough. We would send them over to the D League because we're like, man, you're garbage, and we would call them
right.
garbage. You can't play over here because you're garbage, and that was our level. Now, Kwame, he probably could come down into that same Air Force base where we played at and just give all of us the business on our best court,
Yeah.
right? So he's good in that aspect. But when it comes to the highest level that he made, he wasn't that great. And I gave you
Okay.
his like Stephen A. Smith said, I mean, I get it. You're in the league for so long, you probably rolled the bench a little bit too for a while. You know, I'm trying to his points per game were 6 points per game, career.
Okay. Ooh.
Six
Yeah.
6 points a game, right?
Right.
I mean, I think you just hid in the league for a long time, to be honest.
Right.
Because I think everybody just wanted, and then his player efficiency rate was only 12%. You know what the average is in NBA? 15.
Oh.
So, and I thought, I was like, well, they might be coming hard on him, but I really went and looked at all his stats. Even I seen Kwame talking about, and I'm just strictly talking about him, the basketball player, not him personally.
Right.
And because some of the stuff he was saying, because he was like, man, you see me, I set those picks for Kobe, this, and that, and the other. But I'm like, but what? I mean, anybody can go out and set a pick, but what were you doing after the pick?
Right.
How did you contribute after the pick? That's where that's where I'm at. And if I invest in you, that's why I need you. Okay, yeah, go set a pick. I could be an old dude at 75 and go set a pick on somebody.
Right.
But it's what do I do after that pick that counts or contributes to the game? So, and then he was like, well, when I got to, because he was saying Gilbert Arenas was not passing him the ball, or he wasn't getting the dunks that he was supposed to get, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he said when he got to LA, Lamar Odom was throwing him all these lobs, right? So 2005, 2007 season, when he got to LA, he had 63 dunks. 2003, 2004, and he's playing with Gilbert Arenas, he had 67 dunks.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's just really not meshing, as I guess. He wasn't that great. I'm not going to say that too because I don't want to, dog him. But what I did go do, I went and tried to find the worst centers because I tried to do two categories because he played power forward and center, right?
Okay.
So I went and got, laughing, I went and got Anderson Varejao. I can't say his name. I got his, I went and got his ratings, right? So for his career, he had 7.2 points.
Oh.
He had a 15.6 player efficiency rating. And these guys and he was in the league shorter. Now my second guy, because that's a center. So because Kwame plays center, but he also played power forward. So I went to go get another power forward that didn't score and try to, mesh him up. And it might not be that great, but who I went and got?
Who?
Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman.
So I went and got Dennis Rodman, and his efficiency rate was 14.6. He's only 0.4 off of being in the average.
Right.
Dennis Rodman had 7.3 points per game. And he's not known as a scorer. This is career. 7 points. So he's outscored Kwame Brown.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think Kwame Brown's career would have taken an entirely different path had he not been drafted by Jordan? Because before you answer, keep in mind, Jordan drafted him with the intent of trading him for Elton Brand. He didn't even want Kwame Brown. And then I think from my research, correct me if I'm wrong, the owner of the Sixers nixed the deal. So now you've got this 18-year-old kid you don't want, and he's being verbally and mentally abused regularly, even by Doug Collins. So you imagine what that does to the psyche of an 18-year-old and having Jordan treat you this way. I mean, so do you think his career would have maybe taken a turn for the better had he been drafted by someone else?
And I'll say this in the words of how I used to say, I can't tell you what another man thinks.
Yeah.
But I would say my personal experience, but I would think that let's say he was 17, right? When he went to the league.
I think he was 18.
18? He was 18, right?
I think he was 18.
At 18, you have the greatest player in the game that's over you. And I'm going to kind of contradict this too, but I'm going to just give kind of two sides. You have the greatest player in the league that's coaching you, giving you nuggets. Whoever Kwame Brown circle was should have been like, man, soak up what you can do is only telling you what you're doing, right? Blah blah blah.
Right.
Even the coaches, they're telling you, I mean, you there, you can make the best of this, or nut up and go home. But you like you said, you bought your mom that house on a golf course, so you want to keep that house. You need to nut up and become a man. It's a man's league, right?
Right.
So I don't see how a guy yelling at you or telling you to do something right, yelling at you, will make you a worse player, right?
But you got to think too. Some people respond to
I
some
know.
people.
I
They
get it.
coach differently. Some people respond to that and
But
rise above it, and some don't.
okay, so if you're at work and your boss yell at you, you gonna quit?
No,
Huh?
but it might. I might be so pissed off. It might affect my performance
You still gonna produce though,
for a
right?
little. Yeah, yeah, but I'm
Right.
still. We gonna have a problem. I might have to go to HR. I don't know what players what they do, but yeah,
The Players Association.
yeah, yeah, something.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm almost a little devil's advocate on it because I think, like, I mean, at 18, and if even where we were played at like I say, on the Air Force Base, there was a guy
Yeah,
that yelled at me once or twice, but it just made me want to go out and bust his ass,
yeah.
to be
Oh,
honest.
I know one that used to yell at everybody.
Yeah, and it just made me want exactly. It made me want to go bust
Right,
his, bust him up, and we were young then.
right.
So I don't know. I don't know if that. I mean, I know it can affect the player in a sense, but I think when you get to the NBA, it shouldn't affect you to where your entire career make you a bust. Because listen, Jordan wasn't yelling at him when he was at LA. He wasn't yelling at him when he was at Detroit and the other teams he played for. Jordan went there, so you had your time to develop. I think, it was at Charlotte or whatever. So Charlotte, Philly, and the rest of them. Anyway, you had time to develop after Jordan. But what did you do with that? What did you do as a player? You only
Right.
got worse. And you were still young. You left the league at 30 years
Hmm.
old. So you still were good. You still had something in the tank. If you would have, took the craft seriously or a little bit more seriously. And that's what I think, because you never, as a player, he never developed.
Right.
So and that you can't say that was Jordan's fault 7 years down the road. It may have been Jordan's fault in the beginning.
Maybe it did something to his psyche, and he was never really able to recover mentally. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just.
I can't take that. I'm sorry. I can't take that.
I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know.
I mean, I get you. I get you, man. But I understand. I mean, I just really just don't think down the road, because there's other things that happened to him as a
Yeah.
player, and he came through those very good. You know what? And I put it like this: he even had I don't think his arm or hand was broken. This is his own words. He was out there playing with a broke hand at one point, where he either got in a fight or punched it through a wall. I can't remember,
Hmm.
but he had a cast or something on it, and he said he was in so much pain. And he's like, I still fought through all that and still played while I was injured,
Right.
So if you can play while you're physically hurt, why can't you play because your butt hurt because somebody hurt your feelings? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. Some people I don't know. I don't know.
I can't make excuse for a grown man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those. Some people respond. I don't know. With
I
time,
get it.
time will tell. If he starts or continues these tirades,
Mhm.
we will have to see. But switching gears a little bit, I wanted to ask you, and I know it's my team, my one of the best receivers, but the Julio Jones situation in Atlanta. Uh,
What do you think of it? That's your
well,
guy, right?
that's my guy. One receiver to another. I feel like I understand
Yeah.
what he's going through. But yeah, I mean, man, I guess I won't even say father time, but the Atlanta Falcons. Just to start with them, just real quick. I just don't. I think they did right by drafting that tight end.
Mhm.
A lot of people say draft one of those quarterbacks. You give Matty Ice maybe 2 more years, but
Yeah.
you ready to win now. You got to hold on to Julio.
But I think the thing is with them, they have no more caps with Julio's contract.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
cap space, the dead cap space,
yeah.
all that plays a factor. And then
Right,
of course they do say he has or have soft feet right now, bum
right,
feet. But
right,
I guess they're trying to go out and get what they can for him quickly. I mean, before, like you said, that Father Time catches him and he's not worth much. And then they're
right,
stuck with paying. Right now they can trade him before the deadline and
right.
they can split their dead cap space over the next 2 years. But if they
Hmm.
don't trade him after, matter of fact, I think they've already missed the deadline if I'm not mistaken,
Hmm.
or it might be early June. They're going to have to pay that dead cap space all in 1 year.
Okay.
And they're still going to be above cap, which
Hmm.
makes the team. But if they can trade him off, which I think whoever pick him up, they're gonna get a great deal because number one, they're not gonna have to give up much to get him because of the situation Atlanta Falcons are in right now.
Right,
They can like you said, just one what's the first round draft pick. They can get that. I mean, give that up to get him
right.
and maybe a couple of dollars. So it's good for whatever team. Let me ask you, what team do you think he should go to, or would be nice for
Well,
him to go to?
well, okay. Well, let me just say this from Atlanta Falcons standpoint, you can't trade him within the division. Um, Now, having said that, gosh, there's so many. I think every team would take him. I that's a good question. I would say let's go stack the Tampa Bay Bucks, but they're in the division,
Yeah.
so you can't do that. Maybe well, no, okay, so just not in the division. I would say maybe. Well, somebody had said something about Dallas, but
Which he even said, I would say this,
yeah,
Julio verbally is like,
yeah, I
hell
don't.
no.
Yeah, I'm not going.
I
I'm
don't
not
blame him
going to
either.
Dallas. I'm not doing that. So, I would say, ah, gosh, Julio to
Tough one.
you could even you know what would be funny?
Who?
It New England. Well, I wouldn't say it would be funny, but you could even do New England or something like that. I can see him going to New England.
Really?
I don't even sound crazy. They need the help.
Yeah, they need
Receiver.
the help, but they also need Cam came back, right?
Yeah, Cam's back,
Okay.
and they got
It
Mac
helps them.
Jones.
It will put them in because here's the thing, they were saying that the Baltimore Ravens are the front runners or the ones that he would really be great at. At first, I'm like, man, no way, not with I can't think of my man name, quarterback. Come on, what's the Baltimore Ravens quarterback?
Um,
Lamar Jackson.
yeah, Lamar Jackson. But then you got with the tight end,
Exactly.
and,
So what happened is he would get all the one-on-ones, because you
mhm,
have to keep the defense has to stay honest at that point because you still have to contain Lamar to keep him from running out of the pocket
right.
because he's dangerous. You have your tight end, and then you have Julio. So that puts that defense at basically at a 7-man, front or
Hmm.
or you keep him in that box right there, the defense wise. So he'll get all the one-on-ones all day long, and maybe get a couple more balls to him in the air more than
Hmm.
he could be I call him a little monster, little cookie monster, or whatever, you know, because he's eating up, you get to eat up everything at that point. So
Right.
I thought about it at first. I'm like, man, heck no, but then I really thought about it. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that kind of that wouldn't be too bad, man.
Yeah.
And
I,
they just give up a couple of draft picks.
yeah. I mean, from what I hear, Atlanta's asking for a first round draft pick.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll
Why
see.
not?
I mean, I want to see where he goes. I want to see what happens. It doesn't seem like he still wants to be there, but
Or he said he was gone. He said, I'm
yeah, he
gone.
said I'm out of here. So only time will tell. I said don't they be fools to trade him within the division. So
Yeah.
that'll just give him chalkboard, just give him more extra motivation, beat his former team. But
You know how
like I
they,
said,
I was about to say, how those executives are, though. They're going to,
yeah,
if it's in the division, they might do it just because they're trying to get whatever the max of whatever they can out of it. And it
well,
just might
yeah,
happen to be something in the division.
right. Well, we'll
So
see. We'll probably be back on here talking about it again once some trade is finalized and he's moved on to somewhere else.
yeah, true.
Yeah, but yes, that is gonna do it for this edition of Two Men with Mics. I'm Bobby Joe.
That was quick. I got a bunch more Kwame Brown stats, man. What's
Oh,
up,
you got
man?
some more? Oh
No,
man, I'm
I'm just
sorry,
quick.
man.
I'm joking, man. Go ahead.
And,
I was ready. I got notes. Nah, I'm just joking.
and, Bobby Joe, my man CJ, and hey, stay tuned for more from Two Men with Mics.
All right, peace.
All right.